Ahoy hoy, I'm Berto, and welcome to another episode of the town of Froststone on Settlement Survival. These episodes of Froststone will be mostly a series of screenshots. The idea is to condense it down, so instead of watching me play for 45 minutes to an hour, it's more about 10 minutes or so. The Settlement of Froststone is being played on a large map with 2 lakes and 2 rivers. We did not start off with livestock, but we do have a pasture down with cattle, and we had just put down a sand pit and a reed field last episode. Starting off this episode, when we unpause it, we change the speed to a ×10. There's a lot of sitting and waiting, so I'm just trying to speed it up to get more stuff done. When the merchant ship arrives, I'm really stingy on spending money early, so I only buy 100 tomatoes just to get some more food, because food and water have been a struggle. Right after the merchant ship leaves, a traveling merchant comes through, and we make back some of that money selling some flax. This episode of Froststone's first technology point, we're using a reservoir. I had to wait to get clay and sand to get this. And we place it right on the river next to the reed field. And once it's built, we were down to 1 laborer. We do have settlers on the timeline. I had one of the farm fields building flax for 2 seasons, and I do switch it to peas. And while we're waiting for settlers, I start building out more homes. And we had a vet of wild geese, and I choose to tame them because I should be able to get livestock out of it. And by choosing to tame it, we do get geese. The settlers arrive, and we accept 11 of them. With more people now, I immediately put another worker in the reservoir to up our water production. Now that we have more workers, I try to get as much stone and iron as I can to avoid putting the mine down so I can get other technologies first. And I end up just taking this whole area because there's a fair amount of iron in there. The next technology point we get, I use on weaving. It will give us a textile mill, which will help us make linen, which will help us make clothes. I put the textile mill on the lake next to the cemetery. And once it's built, I select linen to be used, since we have flax in our inventory. I also start putting items in the dock to trade when the merchant ship comes through. I start with feathers, clay, and sand. Now that we have workers and the weather's getting better, I go on the other side of the settlement and clear out a whole area. And again, I'm specifically going from the iron. We do have a fair amount of stone all over the area. Iron, not so much. Since we're at 10 speed, the technology points are coming a lot faster, and I use this one on a school expansion. I put down a pasture on the bottom towards the end of the map, and once it's built, I put geese in it. I continue to build more homes. For this first marketplace area, I'm trying to do homes in little squares by 2 by 2, 4 homes total in each square. We get our next technology point, and I finally use it on mining, and I do turn the speed down to 5 at this point. Our water's starting to balance out, but food is constantly being an issue, so I add more farms over here. I started off with standard farms to kind of give an even number. I'm now just kind of build a little bigger to make sure I get as much as I can. I go across the river and clear out a whole large area. Now that we've picked most of the iron off the ground, I do finally put down a mine. It is farther from the original settlement than I really care for, but because of the jade point, this is where I put it. Another merchant ship rolls through. Now that we have items in the dock's inventory, I'm able to get stuff without using as much silver coins. They end up having cut stone, which I need. So with using the stuff in the inventory, I end up using 210 coins to get what I need. And I end up making back some of that money with a traveling merchant selling some fat for 94 coins. Now that we have cut stone, I can finally get the boiler room, which I had gotten earlier and didn't realize I needed to cut stone for. And with the merchant ship still there and some inventory coming back into it, I'm able to trade out feathers for some chicken to help get some food coming in. Now that the mine's finished, I set it up with 3 workers and selected to iron. Once I get some iron rolling in, I will switch it to coal to help the boiler room and be able to switch my workshop from making domestic fuel to planks. I do put a storage yard down here. My idea is to make an industrial area within these mountains. Now that it's winter and the planting season is over, this new farm I put down for peas. And the other farm that was doing peas, the smaller one, I switch it to lettuce. Froststone's next technology point, I get an apiary. I'm having it being built towards the bottom by the school. And this is where I pause the game, but before I do, I did build 2 more farms. I select the first one to make oats, and the next one to make peas. Because I am so short on food, I'm just going with the highest yield at this point. And that's where we're going to end this episode. We'll take a look around and see how things are shaping up for Froststone. I continue to build more homes. I'm building in a left-right direction, east and west, and I'm going as far as I can to the edge of the building circle. And I also did build a boiler room for heat. Going up, we did put a reservoir down, and when we got settlers, made sure there was 2 workers inside. I did put another worker on the fishing dock at one point, just to make sure food was coming in quicker. We had set up the reed field at the end of last episode, and we have more than 500 at this point. I will start moving some of this into the dock, which we do already have some stuff, mostly feathers. Going left to the town center, I turned on the compost plant. I had turned it off to save on water. I probably will turn it on and off just to see how my water is going. And we did add more farms for oats and peas. And we did add a storage yard for the farmland area. At the bottom of the town, we started up an apiary. It is being built as we paused it. We got another livestock and filled out already with the slaughter capacity. We are getting meat and feathers from this as well. I made sure that our first pasture with cattle has 2 workers in it, and it is producing. Since it is small, it's hitting the slaughter capacity a lot quicker. And through a technology, we expanded our school, so we now have 20 students, which is filled out, and I still need to get another textbook. Going up towards the lake, we did put a water textile mill, making linen from flax that we have. We put a mine down, which is now making iron, which will be switched to coal in an episode or 2. And it is on a jade point, so we will be getting jade slowly through this, as well as a storage yard for our future industrial area. We end this episode with a population of 125. Both our health and happiness are in the green. Our health is doing better. And in the timeline, we have settlers and a merchant ship coming through within a year or so. Technologies I'm looking forward to getting in the next episode are the Research Institute, farming efficiency, which is usually something I would have gotten by now. I'm looking at mill, now that I have 2 farms with oats. The mill would turn oats into flour or malt, and it also creates a bonus for pasture areas. And now that I have 2 different types of livestock, this is something I'm looking at. We are in the spring of year 10. So for the population graphs, I have it set for the last 10 years. This is my food, and you can see how it's a constant struggle, especially since settlers keep coming in and I accept them every time. For beverages, all I have is water, and it's been quite a ride. Since I have the reservoir put in with 2 workers, it is getting better. And this is for clothing. I only have straw shoes being made, and now my clothes are starting to get settled. That linen's being made from flax. but this is something that I had to keep an eye on. Thanks for watching episode 3 of Froststone. Stay tuned for the next episode where we continue to expand and hopefully get industrial area more set up. Take care and have a good one.